going on, Jerome's? Slinging Sammy Darnold has become America's quarterback this season, and his connection with Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings are 9-2, and Darnold, frankly, well, not even frankly, easily is having the best season of his career. 21 touchdown passes, completing 67.6% of his passes, 101.7 quarterback rating, top 7, top 8 in the league in most statistical categories, and overall operating the offense really damn good. Outside of the Jets game and the Jaguars game, those little guys, don't worry about those little guys. And 100-plus quarterback rating in 9 of his 11 games so far this season, tied with Lamar Jackson for the league lead. And overall, you got to be happy with the way that Darnold has played on his $10 million deal, seen as the bridge quarterback to J.J. McCarthy, and he's held down the fort since McCarthy got hurt. But replacing Kirk Cousins and leading the Vikings, looking really damn good, and he is setting up to get paid. Also paid is our Black Friday sale of 15% off everything. Ooh, that was smooth. Kind of like that one. PurpleFTW.net. Get the Jerome gear. Get all that stuff off all the way through December 2nd. And shipping will be there before Christmas in the lower 48 states. Nailed it. Continental. Nailed it. Anyways, but yeah, Slinging Sam Darnold is looking to get paid. And yes, J.J. McCarthy is still the future. I'm very bullish on the Michigan man, and I think that the future with McCarthy, who's still 21, he and Kevin O'Connell working long time with Jefferson and Hockenson and Addison and Darisaw back healthy. Let's go. Let's go. But the better that Darnold plays, the more difficult the decision is going to be, because the Vikings have been searching far and wide for many years for their future franchise quarterback, and they've thought they found one. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, sometimes they overpay, and the Vikings with Darnold have operated extremely well this year, and you see the connection that he has with Kevin O'Connell, and finally you see the potential that Darnold had coming out of USC as a number 3 overall pick. Hey, now I'm being protected. Now I have good coaching. Now I have weapons. And now I have a great defense opposite of me, and I can deal. Right? And Darnold is only 27, going to be 28 in June, but McCarthy is the future. All right? And also, what's going to happen with Danny Dimes? What's going to happen with Daniel Jones? Wild card biatches. That's right. But like we said, the better that Darnold plays, the better it is for the Vikings, even if it does lead to a tough decision, because you can always let him walk in free agency. You get a comp pick in 2026, or at least credit for it, as well as the Vikings. The tag and trade option could certainly be viable this year, since there's not going to be a lot of quarterbacks in free agency, and it does seem like a 2-quarterback race in the draft with Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. But long story longer, Spotrac, one of the 2 fantastic salary cap and contract sites, Over the Cap being the other one. Spotrac estimates the market value for Slinging Sammy Darnold at $32.4 million. Now, especially early in the process, these estimates can be a little bit low, especially with the cap going up, and especially Darnold's demand is going to be huge. As of right now, he's the only viable youngish in his prime quarterback that's going to be on the market, right? You could say Russell Wilson, Jameis, but Darnold, that would translate into a 4-year, $129.6 million deal, which would be 21st in the league, 18th amongst quarterbacks, and that would be a significant pay rise from his 1-year, $10 million deal here with the Vikings, but it would slot him in between, ironically, Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith, as Darnold is having the 2024 career Phoenix rebirth version of it this year that Baker had last year and Geno had 2 years ago. So, overall, with the insane numbers with some of the quarterback contracts, Trevor Lawrence getting $55 million a year, Jared Goff getting $53, and it is kind of nuts, but that overall would be a super economical number. And if you look at teams that need quarterbacks, like we said, Darnold's probably going to be the only decent start guy that you would turn the job over as your starting quarterback in free agency available. And in the draft, it's Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, 1 and 2 in the draft in all likelihood because of the quarterback tax. So looking at quarterbacks that are teams that need quarterbacks in 2025, Giants, yes, because I wonder why. Giants, what happened to your quarterback? Yeah, but the Giants have $60.3 million in cap. They're currently at number 1. If they either end up at 1 or 2, I think that they'll just settle for a quarterback in the draft. Same thing with the Raiders, although will be interesting. I don't know, maybe Aiden O'Connell can get into that mix, but do they bring in Darnold and draft a quarterback? Because I mean, think about Sanders and Ward. Like, they're going to go 1-2, or at least in the top 3, but they're not the slam dunk type prospects. Now, no prospect is a slam dunk, right? But they're not talked about in the same way that Caleb Williams was last year, Jaden Daniels, or even a Drake May, J.J. McCarthy were last season either. The Titans are interesting. So I actually think that the Titans make a lot of sense because I think Tennessee is going to scramble things together and win a couple of games. They're currently number 7 in the draft. They got around $65 million in cap space. I'm not sure if Will Levis is going to be good enough. I think that he's way too erratic for the Callahans. And also, never sleep on, hey, that guy played well against us scouting. Frankly, I think his Tennessee game was the second best game of the year, behind only the Bears game. But, I mean, Darnold out there, 246 and 2 touchdowns, 107 quarterback rating, also snuck in a touchdown as well. Would have had a third touchdown and 300-plus yard passing if Jalen Naylor had brought that one in, or close to 300. Yeah. So everything was right there. So all of the Tennessee decision makers, Rand Carthon as well as Callahan's, were watching all of that and it's like, maybe we should get in the Sam Darnold business. Plus, I do think that Nashville would suit Darnold well, especially if he's still chasing that Hawk Tua girl. I don't know. But also other teams, Colts, maybe they're going to roll with Richardson for another year. The Jets would be hilarious. It is a different regime, same ownership, but it's going to be a new coach, new GM. I don't think that Darnold can do it. No, I don't think that he'll just go back to that media pressure cooker. I just don't see it, man. The Browns and the Saints would need quarterbacks, but they may be stuck with their respective behemoth contracts. And then you got the Rams. Depending on what happens with Stafford, I mean, the Rams would make a lot of sense as well, since McVay does run a similar scheme to Kevin O'Connell, a lot of similar concepts, as well as him returning to Southern California as the conquering hero. I mean, the Rams got some pieces. I love me some Puka. Maybe Cooper Kupp's probably going to be a cap casualty. You got Kyron Williams. You have pieces of a great offensive line when they're healthy. And 16, you're going to be out of the range of one of the difference-making quarterbacks in this draft. So, I mean, I think the Rams and the Titans make the most sense. Steelers, depending on what happens with Russ and Justin Fields, I don't really know. Actually, Pittsburgh could make sense too, since they're going to be way out of the range of a quarterback. But for the Vikings, could the Vikings just pay Sam Darnold? Right? Could they sign him to a 3 or 4 year deal, averaging $32.4 million and change? Right? So, question is, why would the Vikings do this? So the Vikings have an estimated $78 million in 2025 cap space. They can certainly afford it, even though the plan was, hey, J.J. McCarthy on his rookie deal. The best competitive advantage out there is that, and you can spend your money elsewhere. Vikings have tons of needs, whether it's interior defensive line, interior offensive line, running back, cornerback, etc. But Darnold, I mean, plans change, and if Darnold plays like a franchise quarterback, which he is, like objectively, you have to say that Darnold is playing like a 7-8 quarterback, top 7, top 8 quarterback right now, and he's a quarterback that you can potentially win a Super Bowl with. I don't know as of right now if he's a guy that you win a Super Bowl because of, but he has shown those flashes too. Like, that's the thing about Darnold is, I mean, he'll bottom out sometimes, but that ceiling is pretty damn high as well. He does only turn 28 in June, so even if it's a 4-year deal, it's still well within the parameters of his prime. Also, how far does Darnold take the Vikings in 2024? Because, I mean, if he takes you the NFC title game or the Super Bowl, I think you got to roll with them, right? Also, do the Vikings see a Super Bowl window, right? So if Darnold takes them on a magic carpet ride, maybe a couple playoff wins, NFC title game, Super Bowl, do the Vikings see a chance, especially if they win a Super Bowl, like do the Vikings see a chance to win a couple more in the next couple years, or do you strike while the iron's hot? Just imagine the tag and trade possibilities of a Super Bowl winning quarterback, especially a guy who plays well, not like a Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson situation. Although they define their Super Bowls. Also, does Darnold give them the best chance to win? Right. So, weighing the pros and cons. Like Darnold is very, very good, but is that being the enemy of great? Is that what J.J. McCarthy has a chance to be? Is pure greatness, right? Also, say you do bring Darnold back. Say it's a 3-year deal for just shy of $100 million, right? Can the team handle a quarterback controversy, or will there be schisms where there will be guys who obviously support Sam Darnold, and there will be some guys who obviously support J.J. McCarthy? Where does Kevin O'Connell come down on this? Where, it is nice to have two very capable quarterbacks, but if there's not a clear pecking order, sometimes that can lead to division, right? And even when McCarthy was healthy in training camp, like there was a clear pecking order. Darnold was one, JJ McCarthy was, well, usually three, sometimes two, right? Also, are you okay sitting JJ McCarthy? And yeah, you can point to Aaron Rodgers sat, hey, Caleb Williams sat, hey, or not Caleb Williams, but Jordan Love sat. Maybe Caleb Williams should sit. I don't know. But are you okay if he sits for 2025, maybe even 2026? Because if you sign Darnold to that multi-year deal, you do have the option to trade him, right? Or maybe even trading JJ McCarthy. Like, what if Darnold gets hot and wins like 2 random Super Bowls? Then what do you do? Right? It's definitely a good problem to have. But it all just goes back to flexibility and options, and that's the name of the game. And you see how things play out where it really sucks if you have a plan in place, because the best laid plans of mice and men, they usually go awry. And also, more importantly, where does Danny Dimes fit in all this? Well, I will say that if Darnold resigns here, I don't think that Jones resigns, because then there will be one of those needy ass teams all of a sudden just going to give Daniel Jones $32.4 million. I don't know, but I think given the circumstances, I think 32.4 might be a little bit low, especially the way that Darnold's playing. Like, he legitimately should be a Pro Bowl quarterback, and the Vikings, as they continue to have success, if they go on a mini playoff run and Darnold plays well, I mean, the price of the brick is certainly going up. But all options are on the table right now. Whether it's let him walk, tag and trade, extend, maybe even playing on the franchise tag, even though I think that's the least likely scenario, but we shall see. And like I said, it's the best case, even though it's a tough decision. Just the tag and trade option, sending him to the Rams or the Titans for a first round pick. Whew, let's go. Well, probably won't get the one from the Titans, but you know what I mean. Either way, your thoughts are thoughts. Spotrac estimates slinging Sam Darnold, aka America's quarterback, market value at $32.4 million for 2025. It's a lot of shekels for a former draft bust with mono. Anyways, let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section. You guys know what to do. Skull production value.